Ghana, a land of deep history and unshakable resilience, finds itself standing at an important turning point. For decades, Accra has been the beating heart of the nation's politics, commerce, and culture. Has hosted the country's grandest celebrations, endured its most heated political seasons, and welcomed waves of opportunity seekers from every region. Yet with each passing year, the capital has groaned under the weight of its own success. The population has swelled beyond what its colonial era layout and decades old infrastructure were designed to carry. Roads that once seemed wide now choke with endless streams of vehicles. The morning rush spills into midday, and the evening rush bleeds into night. Offices overflow, public services strain, and basic amenities compete against the unrelenting tide of urban growth. It is against this backdrop that Ghana's leadership has placed before the nation an ambitious, almost audacious idea: the construction of a new city. Not merely another urban settlement, but a purpose-built administrative and economic hub designed to share the responsibilities that Accra now bears almost alone. This proposed city would not replace the capital, but complement it, a sister city to help relieve the pressure, improve efficiency, and shape a more balanced future for national development. The idea, championed most prominently by President John Dramani Mahama, has begun to stir public imagination and debate. It calls for more than just a shift in geography. It signals a shift in how Ghana plans for its next half century and beyond. The challenges that give birth to such a proposal are neither abstract nor distant. Every commuter who has sat in Accra's traffic for hours understands the frustration. Every civil servant who has struggled to access office space in overcrowded ministries, every business person delayed by inefficiency, every resident battling with the city's inadequate sanitation systems, has felt the consequences of over-centralization. Decades of rural to urban migration have concentrated opportunity in Accra, and while that has fueled economic growth, it has also magnified inequality and overburdened infrastructure. In the words of many urban planners, Accra's growth has been organic rather than strategic, reactive rather than preemptive. Around the world, similar crises have prompted bold responses. Nigeria built Abuja to replace Lagos as the capital, a move that shifted political administration away from a congested coastal metropolis. Tanzania transferred its capital from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma to promote equitable development in the interior. In each case, the decision was controversial, costly, and complex, but in many ways transformative. Ghana's new city proposal emerges from the same logic to strategically position national administration in a location that can be purpose-designed for efficiency, connectivity, and sustainability, while freeing Accra to breathe and function better as a commercial and cultural center. The vision, as described by President Mahama, is nothing short of transformative. The new city would rise on the Accra Plains, stretching across parts of the Greater Accra, Eastern, and Volta regions, and extending towards the banks of the Volta River. Its location is strategic, close enough to the existing capital to maintain easy links, but far enough to allow for an entirely new urban blueprint. Modern expressways and railway lines would bind it to Accra, ensuring that the movement of people and goods remains fluid between the two cities. This would not be a haphazard expansion of urban sprawl, but a planned metropolis with designated zones for administration, industry, commerce, housing, and recreation. More than just concrete and steel, the proposal envisions a green, digital city, one that embodies Ghana's aspirations for a sustainable, technology-driven future. Its architecture would embrace eco-friendly designs, renewable energy integration, efficient waste management, and expansive green spaces. The concept of a 24-hour city would be central, meaning the economy would remain active at all hours, with industries, entertainment venues, and services designed to operate around the clock. This continuous cycle of activity would aim to boost productivity, create jobs, and position the city as a competitive hub in West Africa. In this new urban space, selected ministries, departments, and agencies would relocate from Accra. Key financial institutions and corporate headquarters could establish branches or main offices there. Industrial parks would be laid out to host manufacturing, processing, and technology-driven enterprises. Tourism attractions, cultural centers, and conference facilities would make it a destination for both local and international visitors. The city would be wired with high speed digital infrastructure from its inception, ensuring that businesses, government, and residents enjoy seamless connectivity. The economic implications of such a project are significant. The planning, construction, and eventual operation of the city would generate tens of thousands of jobs, from engineers and architects to builders, suppliers, and service providers. The demand for housing, utilities, transportation, and public amenities would stimulate multiple sectors of the economy. Over time, the presence of a thriving second hub could attract foreign investment, diversify economic opportunities, and reduce the overdependence on Accra for both employment and administration. But as with all grand ambitions, the path forward is not without its challenges. Funding such a vast undertaking will require careful planning and the forging of strong partnerships. Public-private partnerships could play a central role, drawing in investment from local and international companies. Multilateral development banks and donor agencies might be approached to support aspects of the project, especially in sustainable urban design and infrastructure. The cost, however, is only one dimension. Equally important is the question of land. Any large-scale development in Ghana must navigate the complex landscape of land ownership, traditional authority, and community rights. Transparent negotiation, fair compensation, and community engagement will be essential to ensure that the project does not ignite disputes or fuel perceptions of displacement and inequality. The governance structure of the new city will also require careful thought, whether it will operate as a metropolitan authority with its own elected leadership or as a special administrative district under central government oversight. Critics have raised legitimate questions. They ask whether the billions that will be spent on a new city might be better used to upgrade Accra's infrastructure. They caution against the risk of creating a gleaming administrative capital that serves the elite while neglecting the pressing needs of rural and peri-urban communities. They remind the nation of past grand projects, such as the proposed Hope City and Petronia City, that were announced with fanfare but never materialized due to funding shortfalls and shifting political winds. These warnings underscore the need for rigorous feasibility studies, detailed master plans, and unwavering political commitment across successive administrations. Supporters counter that the vision is not an indulgence but an investment in the future. They point to the rising cost of congestion in Accra, in lost productivity, wasted fuel, environmental damage, and public frustration. They argue that decentralizing administration will allow Accra to refocus as a vibrant commercial and cultural hub, while the new city can be built from scratch to embody modern efficiency, resilience, and inclusivity. They note that delaying such a move will only make it more costly and complex in the future as urbanization accelerates and climate pressures mount. Public debate has also touched on the potential location. While the Accra Plains has emerged as the preferred site, alternative proposals have surfaced. The Fante Patriots Alliance has suggested Mankesim, Abura, or Cape Coast, citing their historical significance, ample land, and potential to balance development between the coastal cities of Accra and Takoradi. Such alternatives remind us that location is not merely a matter of geography. It shapes the political, economic, and cultural destiny of a city. The timeline for the project is long, 20 years or more for full realization. This makes it a multi-generational undertaking, one that must transcend electoral cycles and political rivalries. The early years will focus on feasibility studies, environmental assessments, urban design competitions, and the securing of investment. Gradually, land preparation, infrastructure construction, and institutional relocation would follow. This staged approach is designed to ensure that each phase builds on the last, avoiding the pitfalls of rushed, poorly coordinated development. If executed with transparency, discipline, and vision, Ghana's new city could become a powerful symbol of national ambition. It could demonstrate to the continent and the world that African nations can rather than reactively to the pressures of urbanization. It could offer a model for integrating technology, sustainability, and cultural identity into urban planning. And it could give future generations a city that is not the product of chance, but of choice. Yet success will depend on more than blueprints and budgets. It will depend on trust. Trust that leaders will act in the national interest, trust that citizens' voices will be heard, trust that promises will be kept. Without that trust, even the most beautiful master plan will remain only lines on paper. With it, the plan could become a living, breathing reality, reshaping Ghana's urban landscape for centuries to come. In the end, the question before Ghana is not simply whether to build a new city. It is whether the nation will dare to think decades ahead, to invest in the kind of infrastructure and planning that can support prosper all its people. It is whether the pain of today's congestion and inefficiency will be channeled into bold, constructive action. It is whether Ghanaians will look back generations from now and say, we had the foresight, we built for the future. That is the promise and the challenge of Ghana's intention to build a new city. It is a challenge worthy of serious